Yeah, I didn't think about it like that. Secret. I guess people saw it like that. It's just a meta chain. Like, watch him go to Solana and do the same stuff. Though that would just be, it'd be even more crazy if he's able. If it's not just EVM chains that they're trying to bring into the fold.
Yeah, no, they in MakerDAO it explicitly references Solana and layer one chains is
Correct.
what they're going to be targeting.
Right. Because I think at first they wanted to fork Solana. That was like they were like that's whenever Vitalik sold the bottom. They were all talking shit about they're just blah da da da, and then they pissed him off enough to where he literally took all of his tokens and sold on them. It was like the literal bottom.
Could that have been a
Yeah.
intentional shake to get Vitalik off of Maker? Speculation purely.
at, at this
Because I
point,
mean,
I'm inclined to believe that Rune is smart as fuck.
well, let's think about it. Fucking Solana. Solana's built on Rust, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
At the moment, there's fucking tokens on Solana. They've had a whole shitcoin meme season, and fuck all of them tokens have figured out how to do taxes yet. We've had taxational fucking leaps and bounds on EVM chains since its inception. And we're just talking about taxational changes here. We're not talking about the huge number of EIP integrations in Solidity that, like, all this open source building, libraries and software wise, it makes no legitimate sense for a large company to fork rather a basic and relatively unsupported chain in terms of open source development when they want to be doing a huge, like, multi-chain scale integration with the majority of crypto. At face value, it just doesn't make sense. Solana would not be my choice if I wanted to make my own chain, of which I would be the financial arm to a bigger web of chains.
Correct. Yeah. No, and I think that's why it's a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake. Then I think the proof of work idea is going to keep it somewhat decentralized, and then they're literally going to be able to mint, you know, a deterministic value if it's a stable coin that they're minting, right? So it makes makes a lot of the stuff way more deterministic in value and to understand the actual underlying architecture of how
I
it
mean,
all
it
works.
could, depending on how they build the hybrid system, it could be in basic mechanics a way of cancelling the downsides of each other out as well. Instead of having miners sort of get bribed to do things, you have the stakers who run the nodes will go, no, that is not what I see. Thank you very much.
Right? They can't be bribed into at gunpoint like these fucking all these stupid other MEV transactions that you see. Like it's like standing in
Yeah,
like a line at Walmart. You're about to buy your fucking groceries, and then some dude steps in front of you with a gun to your head, buys them for less, and just even if it's $5, and then you pay him what the receipt says. He takes off with the $5. Pointless.
yeah, no. The
Real guy
stakers at
just
the end of the checkout with the other gun will be pointing back at him, going, "No, you give that guy back his fucking groceries. Thank you very much."
exactly 100%. Yeah, that makes sense. It would give them the opportunity to like not just have to take the bribe and be okay with it. They could be like, no, that's like you said, that's not what I see.
Yeah, they have to achieve a
that's all they do all day.
consensus
They just have their
between
own
the
little,
miners and the stakers. So,
right. Otherwise, it won't. The fucking chain won't mint. There's no.
yeah. And what better
Yeah, they're
way
gonna have some fucking
to
breakthrough shit.
a meta, yeah, what better way to back a meta chain of decentralized entities than with the ability to be a financial arm in a system that really is built to be resistant against that kind of attack. It might not be the fastest, but it will certainly probably be more secure than what we've seen so far.
Right. Well, I mean, that one thing that DAI has always been kind of held on its value. It's like you couldn't, there's like flash loaning, it was kind of pointless because you'd only get like 66 cents to the dollar. So like no one, there was really no point to use it as to try to volley it around and use it like they do USDT and USDC. But now that you can wrap DAI, so technically all the SDAI is just a version of DAI. Anyone can wrap it, and then you get paid just for holding SDAI. You get paid, but much you can do all this extra usabilities that DAI didn't have. Maybe purposefully, purposefully they didn't allow DAI to be easily loaned out. And then when you get collateral against it, so when he held his DAI and he turned his DAI into Ether. I mean, did he actually spin the DAI? I think he spent it. But when you're doing collateral before the DAI, you get like you get 150% collateral collateralization against it. So if you're going from DAI into something else, if you're using the protocol, you get it 1.5x. But if you go from that back into DAI, you're losing value. So there's definitely some things that we saw him do that wouldn't be profitable or wouldn't make sense unless you were like the harborer of the actual protocol. Like swapping the DAI, like when he did the first time, swapping DAI into SDAI. I don't think technically it's not a swap. It's just like you can leverage out against it. But I think he went, from what I remember, it was a straight to SDAI, and then SDAI to Ether, and then Ether. Some of it never came back out of SDAI. The transactions in the wallet, it was no swap. We just don't see that. You just don't see that other half of the using a protocol that minted DAI, and then he put it back into Ether, then he swapped that into Ether. Yeah, big game shit. The question is, I wonder how many transactions it's taken and what's going on for to unlock these pools, and if that's if that's actually the case of what's going on. Just because I read it somewhere doesn't mean that that's seemingly it's being traded again though. 2 seconds. I gotta grab a sample. I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, right.
Feels like I've been away for too long. I miss y'all.
Been away like 3 fucking seconds.
I know, right? Not even a whole day.
I mean, at the pace we're
So much
going at, a
happens.
minute's like an hour.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like that 24 hours of not being being in here talking or anything, I felt like it had been a week since I've been here. I almost started feeling guilty that I wasn't coming into VC, and I was like, wait, I was just there.
Yeah. Definitely full on bull run vibes.
Yeah, almost got that. Not quite the same sentiment, but we're getting there, 100%.
How much longer do we got till Richard's time period comes up with the 52 weeks? I know we're close. I just can't remember how close we are.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't paid attention, but I'd say it's.
Last time we all talked about it was 4 weeks. I don't know how long ago that was. Every day feels like a year. So,
Yeah,
I just know we're very close
that's
to the date of 52 weeks.
yeah, that's mental.
Yeah.
What are the odds the timing was that the 52 weeks was at the eclipse?
Right.
Like he's a fucking master tactician. Like somebody needs to get the launch date of the chain, because if he's done that, that's another fucking boss move.
Pulse Chain was launched on May 13th.
May 13th. Oh, then we're a long way off if that's the case.
Yeah, 332 days. So I don't know where someone
So
got
yeah,
fooled.
we're another 4 weeks away.
Oh, that's still not very far. It's relatively close, but yeah. We're still in the shakeout period then, like Richard was talking about. So we haven't seen real pumps yet, assuming that something happens on that day, because you never truly know.
Yes. I wonder why he didn't think about making. It could have just been a technical challenge for them that they didn't get Pulse Chain up for meeting the 52 weeks at the eclipse, but it would have been fucking awesome if he did.
It would have been, but I think there was some delays in Pulse Chain because it did seem like it took a lot longer to launch than people were expecting. So, I mean, it ran perfectly when it launched with no issues, but I think it did take a little bit more time than they were expecting.
Yeah.
It has more
It could have
issues
been
now
the
than it
last
did.
minute.
Yeah,
It could have been the last minute decision to change chains that really set them back.
it could have been, for sure.
I think with everything we've seen, he could have even chosen fucking any chain, any EVM that he wanted to, and still made this work.
Yeah, but I think Ethereum gave the most narrative. I do think they made the right choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we still got that wild card of this supposed L2 that we don't know if it'll have anything to do with Pulse Chain. It might be something completely separate. We don't know, but it's out there and it's happening.
Which one? Dysnomia?
Yeah, it's kind of a wild card right now because we
Yeah.
don't know much. We don't know if it's going to be an L2 of Pulse, if it's going to be something completely separate. We don't know. I mean, Pulse's gas is going to go up. Even today, it spiked briefly. Went to like 50 cents today briefly.
50
Which,
cents?
yeah, it did.
What the fuck were they moving that cost that much in terms of resources?
It happened
That's a
during.
huge spike.
Yeah, it just happened randomly today for about an hour. Gas was sitting around that range. I was in the middle of making pools that I had to stop because it was like, fuck. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, some people might say
Yeah.
that's nothing, but for Pulse, that's like Ethereum bull run gas prices for Pulse. That's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, shit. A standard transaction's like 0.004 cents or something.
Yeah, I mean, I know Solidex because they're doing some crazy ass whale movements, but I don't think that was the cause. I don't know what the hell happened today. I know that
I'd
day,
love to know.
I know one night we were all sitting on VC, gas went to nearly $5. And I think there was like way back when Pulse Chain launched, didn't like Zen do something that made Pulse's gas go ballistic?
Oh man, it was the first week or the first 3 weeks of chain launch when they were still rearranging everything and what is it? Fucking like synchronizing the chain and everything. But gas prices, it was like 2,500 pulse just to fucking send money around. That's not even interacting with contracts.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a lot.
right when they first launched it, it was getting out of hand.
I mean, there's a
It was
good
getting
chance
expensive. I
we
do remember
might
that.
see that gas at peak bull run times. Hopefully, Pulse as an asset doesn't do a fucking 1000x. I
Yeah,
don't think I see it doing 1000x now that I've seen just how much gas is required to rebalance everything in the DAI contract. I reckon they'll
think
purposely try and keep that as far down as possible in order to make the gas efficiency on that work.
I think there's a lot of hints being thrown around. Like we already know about Richard's shakeout date. Maria's mentioned an L2. Maria mentions that Pulse has reached each levels in terms of like they should reach those price levels. Like it feels like there's a lot of foreshadowing happening. Pulse might be
Right?
making a
And
move.
it's all happening.
It might be happening. It might be happening very soon. It feels like it, but I could just be reaching. But it does feel like it.
I mean, honestly, it feels like it's already in the back of their hand. It's like whatever they're doing, they're pretty confident in it, and they've been completely. Even a Spark Swap. If you read like Spark Swap's, like, yeah, we launched this without telling anyone who we are or what we're doing, and no one. We still don't know. All we know is that they came. A part of their team came from EMP, and if you look at their, if you look at the DAI, or if you look at the Spark Swap or Spark Finance, like their white paper, it says, Spark Finance, we empower DAI, like EMP empower DAI. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And if the bridge works like it's some kind of good technology, everything seems benevolent about the swap. It would kind of make sense for them to, they're providing liquidity and things like that over there. So might be a place for them to nestle some of that in a safe place. I think technically they're just a router, so they'll swap through full sex regardless. But I think they were one of the first ones messing with SDI. Like as soon as SDI was like a thing, they were already like making pools with it and doing random shit with it. But I think that's the BSC side of the BSC side of the team, the Binance side, because they would have to have guys from both sides because there's just so much fucking intuitive stuff that they would
What's
have
going on?
to know. Wild. I'm sure some of them are probably thinking the same shit though too. Okay, what the fuck? Who's breaking shit? Jesus, what did you kill, bro?
Sorry, that's me screaming. What's up, guys?
Sound like a bird that got shot.
Oh, that's just fucking truck reversing.
Ow. So fucking loud where I'm at. I apologize. I usually don't try to do calls while I'm out here doing this, but I wanted to touch on get Phil's perspective on what else we had seen. Seems like definitely something going on. Definitely bigger than what it could have been. What I envisioned though too. I didn't even think about looking at Spark Swap, throwing that all into the mix, but it would make sense.
I've forgotten how young Pulse actually is. When I went to look up the date to how close it is to 52 weeks, Pulse is still a baby. Like, I knew it was early, but I've forgotten just how early it really is.
Yeah, because time goes by so. It's not even. Is it a year yet? Almost
No.
a year.
Hasn't even been a year yet.
Exactly.
My God, the chain's
This
already
motherfucker.
done so many incredible things.
How
It really blows your mind.
how fucked would it be if this was all like he literally timed it this way?
Well, that's the thing. We got 4 weeks until his famous 52-week date. It could literally be timed to a T. He could have literally been telling us the time. You know, spend all this
And
time
if you're
letting
gonna get
people
all the
build the
liquidity,
liquidity. Yeah, spending all this time letting people
Yeah.
add liquidity to everything, and then when the time's right, he pumps the crap out of Pulse, and the entire chain flies.
God candle.
Yeah, like it makes sense. Let 52 weeks for people to build liquidity and develop projects, and then bam, you pump the crap out of Pulse, and it sends the entire chain.
I still think he sends up the. It makes it. I think he still sends up the other ones first, and then sends up Pulse, because then you get double the leverage. But maybe there's not enough money in the existence for that to work. That would just be too much money
Yeah.
coming into being
Even
created. You know what I mean?
Even PDI is paired with Pulse. Like everything is paired with Pulse.
Correct.
So it would literally
Right.
send the entire chain to oblivion. Like not
Absolutely.
oblivion,
I think just pumping ink would do that too, right? I think you pump ink, you pump Pulse X, you pump Pulse, you pump everything.
everything's so damn connected at this point. I would love for someone to actually try to map all this out. It would be a nightmare to even try.
And like the more leverage you get on it, the better too.
God. Somebody out there will do it. It would be pretty cool to see the entire chain mapped out.
But I mean, how
I
far
was
would
trying
he
to do it.
pump Pulse to really fucking? Because
Well,
If it was going to match exactly
How
what was
does-
going on, it's going to be at least a 20x. So it'd be like a 200x to equal the value of to get those values to almost equilibrium. I think it's a little bit over 200.
yeah, the price is so damn low right now.
How many
even
X's
going to a
is?
penny would be
Yeah.
incredible. Like, if he killed off a couple
It's-
zeros like that, that would be massive.
I think it's done on purpose. I think at this point it's almost on purpose that it's been kept down.
Well, this is the same man that mined Bitcoin when it was 50 cents. It took Bitcoin 2 years to hit $1. So it's not like he doesn't understand how long these things take. He was there for it.
yeah,
Right. And it doesn't matter. And he knows no one's bigger than the market, right? So it's like, he knows that just pumping money into a black hole isn't going to get you anywhere, because the market will, ultimately will decide where the market goes. But
Yeah,
with these the underlying technology that he has now that could seemingly be at the forefront of his fingertips, he could maybe flip a switch and make that sentiment change on its own too, on its head, which is wild. But yeah, whenever I read that, it's kind of terrifying at first. It's like these bots have the ability, to change sentiment and create sentiment was the words. Yeah, I was like, Jesus, that's terrifying, and it's fucking awesome at the same time.
well, that if he's got that capacity at his fingertips, it's like this bull run will be the single biggest vacuum of retail liquidity into a chain we will ever probably see for at least 2 cycles, until somebody does something even bigger than this.
Right. But I think that's the thing, right, too. Like the opportunities of this happening are getting slim or few and far between, or getting to the point to where anyone can do it. So it wouldn't be as impactful as we
Well,
might see.
yeah,
And
fuck me, dead. Like, Imagine what you could do if you were to be able to harness the capacity to socially engineer retail into building your own Federal Reserve. And then at the end of it, you say, oh, your liquidity's not being rugged by the 50,000 ruggers that came through in the bull run. It's all just been moved to Pulse Chain. And
Correct. All that rug liquidity
enjoy.
is now unlocked. It might be the source of the what empowers the their blockchain. You know, they might just be milling out and minting the other half of this liquidity. Half of it might go to Pulse. The other half that is kind of, you know, we don't know where that value. We don't know if that value exists or not. Let's let the people decide, and then turn a chain onto it to start minting the value out of it, and then we determine that it has value, which would be fucking insane, and then that unlocks the other side of it. Because God knows how much it is. I mean, just that amount of liquidity alone is massive. I mean, if you're talking market cap, that's one thing, but you're talking billions in liquidity. It's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah. Market cap doesn't matter if there's no liquidity. The biggest thing that crypto's ever faced, time and time again, is when the bear hits, where's the liquidity?
Where's the money?
Where is the money? Show me the money. Bank runs on central exchanges. Fucking central exchanges get tested.
This could literally be a not an infinite supply, but it could be a way to literally front run the minting of U.S. dollars, because we'll already have like, okay, fuck you, U.S. dollar. If you can mint shit out of thin air, we now have a fucking pool where we can mint shit out of thin air too. So if you're gonna fucking keep minting over there, Tether, you know, we're gonna take it out of this pool. You know, we're gonna mark it down and make sure someone's tracking it. Because it could be a way to front run the entire.
We'll figure out a way to. We'll figure out a way to actually combat the artificial inflation placed on minting.
Correct.
Like printing money into nothingness.
Yes, because that's what's got us into a problem to begin with, and same thing with the stock market. I mean, eventually the printing of the U.S. dollar catches up to you. So if you find a way to be able to, you know, harness or, you know, track that, have it tracked or sourced some way on the blockchain, so at least we know, or, you know, gives people, you know, if you actually have that sentiment of being able to track it, you add a whole other layer that the blockchain can technically harness.
So
that's what I was thinking. You were talking about this last night.
Well, I thought about it in direct terms of. Yeah, I was thinking about in direct terms of what if they pegged DAI and then DAI would increase with inflation. But no, you don't do it that way. You use DAI to build Pulse. We draw in enough retail liquidity to really flush this whole area with liquidity. And then Pulse becomes the CPI fucking adjuster.
Right. Yeah. DAI like DAI will literally be sitting at the heart of everything, and anything transactionally going through anything would have to harness through Pulse. But then of course they make their own chain, because then Pulse would be too powerful, so to speak. At that point, people would be like, oh, that's, you know, whatever. So they would need some kind of proof of work entity to help harness the because it might be too much fucking money to attempt to just mint it in thin air. So they would have to like mint it over time through actual consensus. That would be huge. I mean, that could be the play here. The end game hasn't, you know, there's a reason why they're throwing away their favorite asset, and they're not really throwing it away. They're just kind of giving it a new home for a little bit. It's a caretaker, so to speak. But the thing is, he's been taking care of that DAI for what, 2 or 3 years. He's been sitting on $400 million of it. Like, it's clear that the dude wasn't there to harm Maker.
Well,
and he knows how important stable coins are.
realistically, we're not going to be. Yeah, realistically, we're not going to be a caretaker chain. We will probably be probably the arbitrage network that allows
Yep.
their chain to
Even speak to
funnel
the stuff.
what they've got to the rest of the world.
Yep. Because the first one, I mean, once you're there first, you're the first one to harness it, the first one to act on it. I mean, you're just, you're just gonna have that sentiment. People always have to kind of fight against you to try to always play catch up. But probably a reason
It'll
why
become. Yeah, this chain is all about. It's all about volume. We've got to get these arbitrage bots online, man. Fucking, I told you these things are printers. These things might just be printers on fucking Ethereum or BSC, but it sounds very, very much like if we set these bots up correctly, they are going to be literal fucking bankrolling printers on this one. Because all the volume will have to go through somewhere to get to Maker's chain.
Yep. And that's going to be DAI. And then they're going to start minting because they're probably going to target the same pools because they're forking the network too. So they're probably going to be like, okay, we're going to copy it too, but whenever we target it, we're going to do it this way, just so it seems a little bit more fair. Because there's just going to be a whole other accessibility.
They need those contract addresses. Yeah, they need those contract addresses, and they need the accessibility to the other side of liquidity, so that what is seen on their chain can be directly relevance locked to the rest of the network too.
Right. Yep. So it would literally have to relay off the Pulse chain to know that that's been used or no that hasn't been used. So if that hasn't been used, we're going to tap into it. So it's really going to be a way for them to all communicate. Pulse could be the center of communication. Because it doesn't need to mint any DAI. At least there's no DAI that needs to be minted anytime soon. It looks like. And the ability to harness that much DAI at any given time without having to mint or burn. It's probably a pretty powerful.
Think about it this way.
Because I mean, every other chain thinks that it's worth fucking millions and billions of dollars.
Yeah. Well, let's think it this way. Maker's chain is literally the minting press for DAI once it's up and running. Then that DAI becomes moves across into Pulse chain. Pulse chain becomes the distributor of the asset. We are like the middleman to the rest of the fucking world.
Well, yeah, it's going to have to be until that 22 billion DAI is washed up and actually in circulation. They're going to have to circulate it through us. It would make sense to have to be that way.
Even when it's up and running, when they mint more DAI, we are the fucking bank. We are the fucking reserve.
It makes sense it would make sense to roll it through. Well, and we'd have the bridge technology and the stuff like that to be able to move it around in the way that in a decentralized manner it would already be set up. Unless Spark Spark might just set itself off the coast of Pulse and off the coast of that chain, and then just sit there and be the relayer of positive, whatever negative sentiment or whatever consensus they might be sitting on. Like this dude had to literally quit his job at Maker to make this thing to come out and do all the shit. So it's like. The amount of fucking balls it would take to go out with a plan like this and actually fucking harness it and put it into action is a whole other thing. Thinking about it's one thing, but
oh man, the gravity and scale. This feels very much like this has been a plan that's been focused on and revised for the full half decade that they've been able to. This is big stuff because think about it. Thinking on a different tangent, in terms of centralization risk, you're talking about trying to take control of and or shut down an unstoppable community-backed chain right now where this is all taking place. But when you move the minting functions to
Right.
DAI to a different chain entirely, which is also backed through two different fucking consensus models in a hybrid fashion,
Oh shit.
like you cannot, like no world government will be able to turn off the printing press or the Federal Reserve.
And it's like literally taking the two and setting them as two different entities as well.
Like,
It's not just one or the other
let's
telling you, well,
think-
you can mint whatever you
Yeah.
want because we say you can.
no, it's minted on consensus, and the consensus has to be under conditions. There will be no minting if
Right.
the conditions are not met, and it also functionally
That's-
fixes the problem with how Binance USD token was labeled and shut down.
Shit. How they're doing this all underneath. It's all for the betterment of everybody,
Yeah.
and it's just like, just so
Like
quietly, subtly
everybody's
happening.
yeah, everybody's go-to for 2021-22, including me, was BUSD, because it was like Binance was very, even though they slacked a little bit, but they were very stringent in backing BUSD 1-for-1 with US dollars. And as part of that,
True.
the SEC fucking shut them down over securities. It's like, fuck you. But now DAI being
And,
like
what's
DAI
in-
being DAI, if you put that behind the ability to not turn that off and make it fully automated under a consensus model, that's like, yeah, fuck you, SEC. Try and shut us down now.
Right, and their whole plan was to like keep for like 3 years, probably until they have it all minted. And then once they have 100 billion minted, the whole idea was to allow it to fluctuate up and upwards of 50% around, like from $75 to $1.20, which would just make it,
Yeah.
every time anyone trades that, it makes the maker becomes more no matter what, up, down, left, it doesn't matter. But the bigger the spread, the more money they can actually net.
Well, it
Just
also
bouncing
it
down
also
$1
puts
to 98 cents.
it also puts the money making opportunity squarely in the playground of Pulse Chain as the distributor of DAI.
Correct. like DAI would literally be
And
the heart
who
of,
benefits the biggest?
of everything.
Who benefits the biggest of being able to simply hold assets on chain and enable an AI automated network to distribute it throughout the rest of the fucking cyberverse?
Stakers. people that allow it.
Yeah. Take my money,
It's all
do with
right.
it as you please.
It's all to be automated.
Just make
So
sure
what's
I
the
get my
point?
cut at the end of the day.
Correct. Yep. Make it fair. Make it. Yeah. Don't care what you do. Just bring it back.
Yep.
Those things they don't losing trades unless you literally tell it to go make a losing trade. They can lose money, but you literally have to set them up that way. Like, was it that like the thing whenever I was watching it, the guy's like, hey, I want to lose minus 5%, over the course of the next whatever period of time. So it's just like,
Yeah.
pulls it up. It's like,
Like
yeah,
being-
minus 5%.
Yeah.
Like, bullshit.
Coding these trading bots, they're literally just tools that operate under instruction. You want it to do one thing, it'll do that thing until you tell it to either stop or it kills itself doing it.
Yeah, but I was like, well, that winter, they lost money. I was like, probably because they were told to lose the money. And it's like, the only
Yeah.
reason I was using them as a reference point was just because they were so closely related to Maker that they might have just been a way to shuffle money from Maker into Pulse without, sparking too much of a controversy to begin with. Because the bots that are
Or
running
they
on
could have
Pulse Chain are clearly they're hunt.
or they could have intentionally caused the controversy to get eyes on. At this point,
Also
it's all
true.
speculation.
No, 100%. That was like
But
that
I
was
mean,
one of the biggest.
if
The start of the rabbit hole was pretty much started there for me. And now with everything that we're seeing, it's like, well, they're clearly working together. You know, he literally bought $400 million worth of this fucking asset, like that no one knew about prior to that. You know, so it's just like there's more going on than what we could see for sure.
well, we all thought. Well, I thought at least a week or two ago that Richard's not really making a layer 1. He's making like a layer 0 with the way that he's connecting everything. But the way that we just talked about it, it makes a huge amount more sense in terms of it's not this chain and that chain and that chain and that chain, and it's like layers are 1 and the 2 and the 3. It's now evolving beyond layers into a decentralized network of economies.
Well, yeah, they even targeted the restaking, all that money that was being restaked and fractionalized, so to speak, on Ether. Like they were targeting those pools specifically as well. Like they're like making sure they took that into account for whatever reason. They were making sure that that was a part of this.
Well, they have to.
Volley of
They
money.
need to take
have to, right?
note
Yeah.
of fractionalized assets because they have to make them whole. They have to basically undo the bullshit centralization regime that
the
could
bullshit
have
they started,
infiltrated
yes.
in its yeah. And it could have been just simply a hit to take
Yeah.
out Luna as well, because that was like one of the biggest fucking fractionalized scam setups that was on the bloody minds of people that needed it gone.
Right. Well, I mean, the way that that's some people explain that attack, or the way that it got shut down. It all started from like a couple of transactions, and then that someone made the point of attack obvious, and then the code just fucked itself because it mints as it goes down. So it's like at a certain point it caused its own downfall. But I think that was all because of people that knew that the harm that code could have caused over time. Same thing with USDT, right? Like they've accounted for it. They know they can't take it over. Now it's just about just creating a better network.
It's damage control
so
on
people
that
just
one.
don't use it.
Yeah.
Yep. Like
We
we just have
take
to.
it- yeah,
just
we
have
try
to
and
build
take
shit
it
better.
out of the
Like you
picture.
can't. Correct. I'm sure that they know how big they are and how difficult it would be to shut them down. God knows how and what their reserves look like or what they're actually, because I mean that was probably one of the biggest problems to begin with. There's a reason why Maker went all multi-collateral, and the fact that they took everything and started following everything on chain, because it's just it becomes a problem whenever you're minting something on chain and you don't have another token to back it with. So like even all the stable coins that we see now, like Frax and other ones, like they're literally another one that was the Cardano one that they're using like a copy of a copy of a copy or whatever to back it to like for their backed collateral. So it's like it's pegged to it's another stable. It's like a dual stablecoin system. So they have a stablecoin that follows the copied Ethereum, and then they have that and sitting inside their liquidity pool that's backing their dollar peg system. And those are it's harder to attack that way, and that's seemingly adding that function to DAI with SDAI, but the other way around almost. you wrap into it, wrap out of it. So you just have you have that layer of functionality that DAI just never had before. And it seems like it was all for a much intended purpose, because DAI couldn't be leveraged in a way to harness for attack or for good until now. And it seems like it was something that was either it was going to happen for them, or it was going to go into someone else's hands. Now, if they get their hands on it and they turn it into a decentralized liquidity pool tabbing type thing, then you're talking, this is a whole new ballgame. And then you understand why all the hassle and all the work for Maker and their whole new end game prospect and the voting and outvoting people and just kind of railroading some of this stuff into existence kind of makes sense now. It's like sometimes it is just for your better, sometimes it's better for you to stay out of the way and let the big boys do what the big boys need to do. And then because there was some insane, like, over the past couple of years, some of the voting would happen so quickly because there was just so much voting power behind it that it didn't even feel like, I'm sure it didn't even feel like voting for some of those people.
Yeah.
Because there was some people that they saw it for what it was. They were like, oh, this is a grift. They're coming into this just so they can be a part of it, just so they can say that they're a part of something. And jokes on them, because there's a literal use case for the entire existence of what was going on. Especially if it ends up being something, ends up how it's supposed to. It's seemingly under the watch of the SEC too.
That's a lot to process.
Yeah, dude, my head hurts, but I had to get it out. I had to tell someone about it.
You just
fucking
destroyed people's minds. So if I'm having trouble really fucking like storing that just destroys anybody who isn't paying attention to the network now.
Oh, 100%, dude. If they even attempt to try to listen to that, they're gonna be fucked. I almost feel bad.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have my head hurt by itself. My head was hurting last night, like a literal actual headache for a while. I didn't know what to do. Probably need to come in here and talk about it. But it could be way bigger than what we think, or it could be nothing, or it could be something. They're definitely doing something. Just the fact that the trading over there was enough. But what if they do, like you said? They're specifically talking about Solana for a reason. What if this is like a whole bigger thing at play? It's unlocking and connecting all sorts of things.
Well,
they built a little.
Solana is a great way, and it's a great way to pull retail liquidity right now. It's also probably decent long term to extract maybe more of the centralized money, because I know a lot of Solana was held up by fucking FTX, and FTX was very heavy on the centralization aspect.
Right, actually opened it up. Right, but it's a way to get the money out of the retailers' hands and into the benevolent hands of the almighty DeFi warrior gods.
Of the impending new world order.
Give me that. Well, yeah, 100%. I think that's the more important thing to play here. And he tweeted about it today too, right? He's making these big replies and these big responses about, to the government, to the people, like, hey, you do something about it, or you fall privy just to become a slave within your own environment. And then it's like, I'm here doing this for you, and y'all guys don't even realize it. And that's the literal case, though. He's like 100% exactly what he's doing.
I mean, he loves wrapping
Like,
shit
he's
up
putting his
in
neck on the
puzzles,
line.
but he also is a great person of telling you the literal truth and then leaving you to figure out what he's actually going on about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this is all happening right underneath, right in the middle of everything else that's happening, and he's like literally tweeting about it.
Like, you can't, you can't build what he's building without the level of complexity that we're seeing. But he also knows that if he doesn't at least work on, if he can't make it accessible for normal people to understand, that he will need to use alternative methods to bring them into give them the chance to understand, whether it's you
Right.
want to or not.
Hijacking your attention. Yeah.
Yeah. He greatly enjoys hijacking attention.
100%. And he's kind of sat on the sidelines for a couple years. He also proved that he can, he doesn't have to act that way. He acted that way for an intended purpose.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of an asshole goes out and gets attacked by the SEC? Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
I mean, it's seemingly what he did.
Well,
like, he knew that they would.
Yeah. It's to me, he's still baiting him. It's hilarious.
That's what
But
I'm
we
saying.
don't
It's like,
know
he's
what
like literally
kind of
saying,
game
all
he's
right,
playing at, but we know what game he's playing.
right. I mean, I'm sure he knows that he's playing with fire too, though. But
I mean, he's got his ducks
I guess
in a very, very long, serious row. We see that.
bro,
It's just making sure that he shoots them all in the one hit is going to be the technical fucking miracle of probably this cycle.
yeah, it's gonna have to be bigger than what we think.
It is extremely hard to try and think back over that and recomprehend all that, because goddamn, you try and put that on a YouTube video, you will liquefy people. It's just too much alpha. It's too much concept. Like, it's not. It makes sense. It would be an incredible
Right, that's all.
concept,
That's about.
and it's based in.
That's about all I
It's
can get out
based
of it.
on fucking centuries worth of scholarship and human innovation that just needed the right time and technology to implement. And doing so
sometimes
would be a way of taking control back from centralized entities. But it would be incredibly hard to get the masses right now to understand that.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're literally taking you're front running the idea of being able to mint the U.S. dollar and hurt blockchain, because you literally now have locked liquidity that you can harness and that you can unlock whenever as fiat hits the chain that we didn't have before. So now we literally have a way to follow and track this otherwise untrackable real world asset that doesn't even track itself, but then we start tracking it.
Yeah.
It would be huge.
I mean, not only would we be tracking it, but we would be countering its negative effects. And
yes,
saying,
exactly.
Oh, now we've got more. Thank you very much, world order.
Right, and then we
By the way, when are you going to be buying
end.
more BTC? Because we'll love to fucking exit on you too.
Yeah, no shit. But I mean, yeah, imagine a blockchain that had had the accessibility to liquidity like the government does. That's pretty much what they're allowing, but they're going to do it under the guise of at least what seems to be benevolence.
Well,
by
the
having.
first aspect is to build the infrastructure, right? Very simple terms is like you build it, they will come. If we build the infrastructure of a decentralized world reserve, there are going to be adoption countries. We've already seen El Salvador jump on BTC.
And we
but
have
what if you sell El
Yeah.
Salvador on the concept that you can use a real world dollar value that's a lot closer to what normal people will experience, with the stability that you're not buying an asset that's going to artificially inflate itself into non-existence.
right, and it's literally sitting on something that's backing everything else that already exists
Yeah,
because of the copies.
I mean, it goes back to the concept of what country is Richard going to buy in this bull run.
Hopefully, a nice one. Got water and lights running.
Maybe Mauritius, I think, or a Pacific Island nation. He just needs a few that have some decent enough GDP that would basically just jump at the bit of not having a dollar that they have to manage, and that's stable enough for them to get behind on a world stage and say, we accept this as our legal tender now.
There is some crazy shit that's happened in the past, though. Like people that have kind of started their own, not quote unquote countries, but at least like certain like little nation states. I mean, look at the the way the Vatican exists, the way the capital of the United States, right? It's not even a fucking functional actual state. It's like sits outside of all the other. But within that there's like actual people. I can't remember, like little families that wouldn't have been able to buy out and like kind of live on their own. I forget what it's called, but it's like pretty much like its own territory within the states itself.
Yeah.
My worry would be they would have so much money that they would probably be fucking at threat of going under war.
Yeah. We have a couple of notable nation state properties here, but I mean, it gets incredibly difficult if you're trying to do it on your own, because obviously you have to set up everything a government system would. But if you were to take an existing nation and fold it in underneath this economic model, that would be a much more fluent way of transitioning this into legalized tender.
Well, technically, I mean that's what crypto is anyway, right? Like crypto is a borderless well, I mean, it's like the only thing you would add there is like you would put us all in the same place, so that it wouldn't be borderless anymore. You know, we already have those beliefs. Then now we can just transact within an actual actual community of.
This is flipping the script from borderless transactions to the whole planet being one border, a unified fucking nation state. You would start by one country. You get that one country on board, then the next one follows, then the next one follows. Especially the ones with failing economics models already would be able to look at this and go, maybe we make this our legal tender, reset the network, and start again.
Well, it's going to reset anyway, right? So it's either like that this is a chance for the people to have
yeah, that's it. There's got to be a major economics policy reset. The planet won't survive without it, and they know it. The ones that want to keep the current world order in place are the ones who are already rich, who stand the most to lose.
Correct. And they've already been fighting against it. They've already been fighting and pushing this way for God knows how long.
Yes.
And
they've been in denial, and they've been actively trying to sabotage it where they can, and they are struggling to make headway. They wrote it off as a joke, just like governments wrote off the internet as a fad. and it will come back to haunt them.
because we do care about our money and we care about our communities. They could not put value on the fact of someone continuing your show back up. You cannot put value on community. You can attempt to put value on the community, but you're never going to. The only thing that's going to be able to actually value a community is the cryptocurrency, the underlying asset itself, which is probably the future of the future of finance anyway. It's like, your own personal label with the dollar amount attached to it. Now, do you want the government to control that, or do you want the people to control that? That's kind of like where we're headed at this point, because the technology is either going to be in the hands of the government or in the hands of the people.
Yeah, well, it puts a lot of a lot of governments across the planet on notice if adoption of a decentralized economic policy was fucking adopted. Like, you can't just the things like UBIs and the way they've got taxation structures now that are geared towards people with money to begin with, that can't happen under this model. It's incompatible with this model.
Sound like you're walking through
You
a
would
tunnel.
have to have, like if you were to do a UBI system, it has to be done using a different taxation structure. And the taxational structure that would probably be most compatible with this kind of financing would be a carrot and stick approach of consumption tax. So for every dollar you spend, an X amount is taxed, and it goes back to funding social and health services. And if you are like a rat and loves to hoard your money and it does nothing on the network, you would be hit with an even higher friggin' storage tax instead. You
Right,
want
so
to
you're still paying
incentivize the movement of it.
Right. They're going to make it so
Everybody gets
easily
taxed.
movable.
Everybody gets taxed equally. Everybody gets taxed based on their consumption. Big companies pay their taxation in the same ratioed manner as a person going down the street to buy a loaf of bread is. You may get 3 cents on the loaf of bread, but if you buy 30,000 of them, you get that ratioed amount of taxation done on the spot, right there, pure and simple.
Right. It's not something they could fucking like harness and they can put on the fucking. Oh, we'll worry about that 10 years down the road.
Yeah, and you can't go, oh, you get an income tax cut either. No, that doesn't happen under the system. There is no cheap pork barreling opportunities that are really available under a finance model like this. So politicians will actually have to go back to school and learn how to be a decent person and make policies that better humanity instead of what's better for their back pocket.
Well, yeah, I guess the only way to make that happen is change the money, change the world, right? Because
Exactly.
if you don't change the money, you don't incentivize people to change. What's the point? I mean, we've already seen what happens with people and what money does to a certain degree to just kind of inflate your personality. It doesn't really change much of what's going on. Just yeah, fucking A. Good old fucking cryptocurrency. Gotta love this shit. Gotta love this shit.
Fucking better love this shit. Not you, but I'm
And
just
I'm-
saying. Girl. You guys are better.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, right? It's like it's not even about the value. It's about the ability just to have transactions at some point. That might even just be enough to for people to just pique their interest, because the value might not even be a thing that matters in the future. The value
I don't know
that we
if you
hold
were
on
ever
it now.
playing with like certain consoles back in the day, like PS4s or PS2s and shit like that. But the whole argument back then was like, if you can't jailbreak or modify your device, then you don't own it. And they made it illegal to jailbreak iPhones, Xboxes,
Oh, yeah.
things like that. So like, it's the same thing with money. If you can't do whatever you want with your money, it's not your fucking money. So majority of the
Correct.
money in these banks and these places, it's not even money. Like if the contract has functions that allow other wallets to move your money or control it, then it's not money. It's just a trading derivative. But at the end of the day, like as corny as it sounds, like Bitcoin really is going to be one of those historical like monuments that just fucking change everything.
I think it already has. I just think it's gonna sort of. It's just there's certain techniques that Bitcoin can't have for it to be able to stand as a staple of the backbone of what it is. It can't move fast. It can't do this. It can't do that. Like that's the whole point of it. I think. So
Yeah, you're right. That is
I-
true.
I think that's kind of the entire point of Bitcoin is just, as a store of value. I mean, it took a while for them to come to that the point of it, for retail to value it the way that they have. But at the end of the day, it's unfortunately it's going to be controlled by other people, but we don't need it to. It doesn't matter if we have our own systems that run on their own models.
At the end of the day, what's going to happen is people are going to be able to have. I think the next step in advancement for Bitcoin and layer 2s, because Lightning's not going to work, but what will work is self custodial. What's it called? Non-custodial wrapping. So if the wrapping is able to happen in your wallet, then what will be able to happen is people will start wrapping their Bitcoin. Majority of the activity will happen off chain.
Correct.
With the help of like Chainlink and other networks. But yeah, it'll be true Bitcoin once it's non-custodial wrapping.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing Pulse Chain's going to allow, right? It's going to be another this interconnection between different blockchains that that have seemingly came out of nowhere, and then allow it to the fiat system matters, but it's not going to be this big centralization of fiat on-ramping that they care about. It's just going to be the ability to get on any other chain and then wrap it, so to speak, or transact and come on to into Pulse and then out to anywhere else.
Doesn't that just add value to a multiple of systems that are failing already?
100%. Well,
what
which way?
examples of failing systems would you give?
I'm just loosely saying that, but like if you wrap a Bitcoin, that like seals its value on that blockchain.
No.
Wherever you put
so
it,
what
right?
it does is it creates like a it's almost like a Beanie Baby effect. So let's say I have something valuable, and we all know this coin has value. I'm gonna send it to a wallet, and then in return, I'm gonna receive a token. I'm gonna receive a 1-to-1 return, and it just so happens to say wrapped Bitcoin. So like, let's just say it said like, let's just say this coin that I received said Xbox 360. The fact that it's connected to the system that I send my Bitcoin to, and I receive a 1-to-1 token called Xbox 360, it's the same thing. It's literally wrapped Bitcoin, but it's just called Xbox 360.
Is that why he has all those fucking? You look at all those names that he has on there, like
No, Rick. No.
He's got Disney Metaverse, Toyota Metaverse.
No.
Is that why he did that? Is that fucking why he did that?
Like, we're gonna be on medication after we research all this. We're gonna be billionaires, and we're gonna have to take fucking medication because we're going so far.
It's gonna make us go fucking insane.
Bro,
hey, you brought it up. I was just pointing out the fact that there is
Richard Hart.
I was just pointing out the fact that there is an Xbox Metaverse token on the Pulse chain already. That's all I was just letting you know. And pointing out the obvious.
Yeah, no,
Is there
it's
actually?
not what he was getting at. But it's not literal, it's metaphorical. And I think Sponge is on the right track. When you wrap something and you get a 1-to-1 back, I think by technicality, the value of the two is half, but the two halves make the whole anyway.
Correct.
So the value stays there. It's just in two different tokens now instead of one.
Oh,
Okay.
you're talking about
Zach.
for like the non-custodial idea?
Fucking Zach, man, you missed some absolute
Well,
brain
kind
bending
of,
shit like an hour
but
ago.
it's in one place though, because it's locked on the one side.
man.
There's literally,
Yeah.
it's the opposite of what he said. There's no value on the one side, and it's all on the other side.
It's
but it still exists.
non-accessible, but still non-custodial.
It still has right. There's a link on both sides, but you're just telling which side the value is on.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay, well then,
So sick. That would be
So
sick.
so you're hot. You're just taking the value and moving it to another place. Is all you're doing it, and you're slapping a new name on it.
Yeah,
Really,
because
when it comes
Bitcoin
down
because
to it,
Bitcoin
it doesn't fucking
no
matter.
no you're
Bro.
putting utility you're putting utility into it because Bitcoin doesn't have the ability to transact like a wrapped Bitcoin does.
Well, it goes a lot faster, doesn't it?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You're giving Bitcoin what it did. You're not just slapping a name on it. You're slapping a name on it and giving it utility.
Okay, well, you're looking too far past what I'm trying to say. Like layman's terms, boys. Layman's terms. Okay, I don't care how technical. Well, I shouldn't say this, but I got to look at it in a way I can explain it to other people who have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Oh, you're not going to be able to. That's the whole thing about
Yeah,
this thing.
But you have to.
It's so. Well, okay, all right.
It happens whether they like it or not, though. Is what it.
Well, I
Buy
understand
all
those-
the Hot
there's
Wheels
all-
cars you literally can get your hands on. That's what it's like.
Why?
That's the only way to explain it to people.
There's no end.
But no, it's literally simple. Buy all the Hot Wheels cars you can physically get your hands on. That's what you tell people. And when Pulse Chain's DAI stablecoin goes to $1, you know what you say? I literally told you to buy it at lower than a penny. What the heck, man?
Yeah.
No, they're gonna tell me you told me to go get all the physical Hot Wheels I could.
Say, oh,
I'm
you
stuck
bought
with
the
fucking
fucking
100.
Hot Wheels. No, I said to buy the hottest token on the blockchain.
Oh, see, yeah, that would be my bad then. I misremembered.
And then you know what you do?
Right.
All right, well, I mean, now that you got all these Hot Wheels, I'll buy them off you for 25% retail price.
More than they're worth.
There
I
you
love
go.
that.
Now
I
you
guess
got. Boom.
the idea is not to be holding the dollar.
No, in a sense, yeah, not really. You kind of want to have like wrapped Bitcoin in a Troca and stuff.
Okay, Q, what was this mind bending stuff I missed over here an hour ago?
I'll try and put it in brush strokes that crayon drawers can understand. We have.
What about
come to-
crayon eaters?
Possibly.
Okay.
We've come to a level of consensus that the way that they're operating the Pulse Chain move and the paperwork behind MakerDAO moving eventually to its own chain, running a hybrid consensus model, is this. MakerDAO will move their DAI operations to their own chain so that they can reinitialize the ability to mint DAI on a new consensus algorithm.
Boom.
What will happen is that DAI will then start transitioning through Pulse Chain as its Cyberverse market maker to all of the layer 1, 2, 3 chains that Pulse Chain will eventually be directly connected with using the ginormous amount of bots that are moving liquidity around already. What that means is you would create a decentralized minting press that cannot ever be turned off by any centralized world government anywhere because of the fact that you've got miners versus stakers on that one. And then you've got Pulse Chain, which is essentially the Federal Reserve Bank of the world.
So you've
Oh, it's a
made a
big brain
decentralized America?
I think so. I think so.
This is one DAI equals one DAI in the next couple of years.
Well, I noticed you didn't say $1.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
because
has nothing to
DAI may actually decouple
What?
from the US
No,
dollar.
the correct response to that was what dollar?
What dollar? Ooh, good one.
No, because
I
like
didn't
the
even
DAI
acknowledge the
stablecoin might
dollar.
decouple from the
But-
US dollar.
He's already on it. He knows what he's talking about. Okay. Well, that's
No,
very
because the
interesting.
DAI
That's the dollar.
stablecoin might decouple from. No, I'm joking.
It is. No, it's going to be fluctuating. The DAI
No, it will.
stablecoin.
It will. Within
Yeah.
3 years, it will.
Yeah, it's going to be fluctuating between 75 cents and $1.25.
For how long?
That's why I'm saying
Forever.
That's forever. That's why I'm
Forever.
saying Pulse Chain becomes the bank, because Pulse Chain's bots will be the only thing that keeps everything together, because
That can front run them.
it will use liquidity movements to front run everything to create the revenue required to continue to hold Pulse Chain as the
Or
bank.
Rig, you
Pretty
said
fucking
35
simple.
cents to $1.25.
75 cents to
No,
$1.25.
75.
Oh, okay. All right. That's better. I was gonna say, Jesus Christ.
No. Yep. So for 3 years they peg it apparently, and then after that, once they have everything minted, once the 100 billion exists, they allow it to run freely and actually find its own heartbeat, so to
So
speak.
that will have 120 billion after that.
Correct. Wild. But that could be it's definitely a great theory. It sounds awesome, and it sounds benevolent, and it takes any kind of central authority away from DAI itself, and splits it up into a benevolent ecosystem that just kind of
You know
runs
what I
on its
just
own.
realized? I wouldn't say there's zero central points of failure for this whole system, but one of the biggest points of failure is like even Hex. If anybody gets their access to the keys of the OA, like, and they want to be like, malicious, it's like temporarily it's going to be doomsday, but it
I
may
think
not destroy it,
he might
but
end up burning it.
no, what I'm saying is like if somebody got their hands on that, like an intruder, it would be terrible.
Right.
But if
Well, it's the
someone
same thing
got
as
their
if
hands,
just someone
if someone
can.
got their
Well,
hands
that's
on, if someone got their
that's
hands, God damn it, let me speak.
no, fuck you. Fuck
If
you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
no,
Fuck you. Fuck you.
no,
No.
I'm gonna forget.
No. No.
if
No.
if 414 actually gets his wallet hacked, it would only push the system down like 25-30%. It would not stop this thing from going. I think this is indestructible. I think this is literally unstoppable.
I think that's the point. But yeah,
Jesus Christ, this is bad. Because
yeah,
he mentions it.
they had that. This has got to be some shit that's going through some of these guys' heads at some point in time. Like, what if person A got a hold of the burn wallet or the burnt liquidity? What would happen? Well, what if we got a hold of it and used it as a tool rather than something they have to be worried about?
Huh.
Because I think that's technically what they've kind of done. Opened up the possibility of moving around burnt liquidity.
Wait, how would we get access to burnt liquidity?
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. Only one end of it.
It's
Well,
brain melting stuff, Sponge.
so theoretically, he would be able to, if he got into those wallets or into that where that is, he could take a snapshot of it, and then literally do a flash loan on LP tokens. So he could literally take his couple $1,000,000, go to BSC, or you go get that, then mint the SDAI, then go to the BSC, then swap it out, take a snapshot of it, swap one end of it with DAI, and then mint. Then he has the other copy of it because he forked the chain. He'd like literally mimic it in there, then put that in there, and then the bots would immediately start trading it because the DAI would seem undervalued, and then that liquidity would technically become unlocked.
This is genuinely frightening because the way I'm seeing it right now, like Richard tweeting against this wouldn't stop it because people would know he's lying at this point.
Yeah.
OA, like Maria's OA getting hacked would not kill this. Like this is literally, like you said, like a decentralized, indestructible, immutable minting press.
Yeah, and it's not
even then, Maria is not a big cog in this machine. Maria is great for getting us into this spot early, but Maria himself is not the big cog in this machine. It's the mechanics of moving Maker from Ethereum to Pulse Chain, re-establishing the infrastructure required to run DAI as a bank here, then moving the Maker infrastructure to its own chain to create an extra layer of decentralized governance, of which one side can't hold the keys to the other side's finances.
And then Maker,
It has to be a consensus on a consensus, of which the bots then force consensus across the rest of the network.
right? And Dinotrope plays its own role in that, like a second layer of consensus that like that allows the flow of this to continue to happen because of how much it controls.
DAOs, sub DAOs, micro DAOs.
Boom! That's exactly why they're fucking doing it, guys. It's happening on Pulse Chain already. Fucking
So
assholes.
we're gonna be a sub DAO that we're basically gonna be a sub DAO that's governing 20 billion DAI.
Well, we'd be a micro DAO, but yeah.
Like I said,
Or
fucking Pulse Chain itself is the bank. When Maker moves their minting capacity over to the hybrid chain and
For the Federal
uses
Reserve.
proof of work versus proof of stake to get consensus, that's the Federal Reserve. You have to get consensus there to mint, and then once it's minted, it comes through Pulse Chain to distribute to the customers.
to the customer, yeah, to the actual people.
Would it be like a
Let me
wrap?
ask you
Would it
this.
be like a wrap token on?
Yep. So they're using wrapped DAI, wrapped. Yep, they're minting that out of their consensus model. They're minting
wrapped
versions of-
WP DAI on the network?
Yeah, correct. WP DAI is what they're going to be, and they're going to be wrapping it and then sending it to us to unwrap it, and then we, because we're the only ones that are holding the actual real DAI. So they would literally be minting a wrapped version of it, pulling that to consensus and sending it to Pulse Chain to unwrap and then to distribute. That's fucking massive.
But they're not going
They're
to get rid of the current DAI. Like they're not just going to tell everyone that's holding DAI right now, like, hey, by the way,
No,
you got
no.
to switch your DAI. They're just
They-
going to
they don't-
grandfather it in,
They
right?
don't want to mint it. Yeah, they don't want to mint it anymore. They don't want to see it minted the way that it's minted. It's never going to be minted again as DAI. It's going to be minted as WP DAI, and then it's
Okay.
going to be
So only
unwrapped.
Yeah.
interesting.
Why is this showing Pulse Chain V4 in that tweet picture? Did Richard just drop an Easter egg?
No, what is he doing? Oh, good old Richard. I love Richard. What are you
we
doing?
already knew there was an update coming. But look at that photo. Look closely at it.
Dude, no, you know what it's going to be? V4 is going to be the meta transactioning, the meta transaction loophole that
I wonder
BSC
how
or
many people
Ethereum.
get caught. He literally gave an Easter egg.
That would be so fucking huge if that's the meta pool. If that is like the meta.
I mean, it does say Pulse Chain V4. I'm not seeing things.
Oh my god, dude.
It says
You know
it in the
people would
photo.
want to provide with. And then what does he give? He gives everyone a little bit of ink to come provide liquidity in that motherfucker, and then well, fucking everyone's minds blow because they gotta come to Pulse. Let me see this tweet. Oh my god. Is Richard Hart in here talking to us? Is he like in here fucking listening to us and shit? You motherfucker?
Google it. It shows a testnet. So there's a testnet for V4 Live.
Yeah, that was Pulse Chain V4 was the testnet, I thought, right? But it was
That's the last
V4.
stage testnet before it went live.
It's showing other testnets in that photo, but still. Maybe I'm just reaching, but
All right, cool.
No,
So
because
it's
it's
just
like but it's in front of it, and it's just literally called Pulse Chain V4 rather than any kind of testnet.
well, it's also showing Sophila on there in hard hat. So it looks
it's
like
also
a
not
testnet.
saying PulseX. If it was PulseX, it would have said PulseX.
I don't know.
Well, unless it's the actual
Yeah.
chain.
You never know with this guy. That's the problem. He could
Why
have
does-
literally did it on purpose.
Literally downloading the Raven into the Pulse Chain. What is he doing?
Oh, it's some type of NFT software.
Oh,
The example he's showing is a book that someone uploaded to the chain.
oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he wants to make it so people can upload documents to Pulse Chain.
Well,
and-
no, yeah,
can't be
because
simple.
that'll make it because Pulse Chain's going to be it's an AI, right? So being able
Oh,
to
fuck
upload
off.
It's a
Are they
freedom of
seriously
information.
doing like an
Being-
ordinal setup for EVM?
yeah, like being able to send documents to the Pulse Chain with and then it's AI would be able to that would make
Well,
sense,
It would make it censorship resistant. You could literally never get it taken down. It'd be on the blockchain forever. So
right? Like it would be
This
like
is
your
hybrid.
ID or something like that, a birth certificate. And
It's a missing piece in this being a real decentralized chain.
Code's gonna have a fucking field day with that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Sponge, where's your
he
call channel?
loved the concept of Bitcoin ordinals. Being able to do ordinals like file size injections on an EVM would be absolutely unreal.
Hey, Sponge, where's your call channel? On Pulse Chain.
I
What?
love how
What do you mean?
I love how Richard's like, somebody built this, even though it was Rowley, it was probably him.
Right? You gotta love it.
He's like,
Does
this
mean you
is
can
on Pulse
actually
Chain
like
now.
run a
Somebody built
channel
this.
on? Does this mean you can actually run a channel on the blockchain?
Essentially. This is bigger than we're realizing at this moment. I'm gonna test it very soon. I have to.
Yeah,
What
like
when did
fuck,
it?
if
What's
you
a,
could
when
run
did
a
this?
chain on channel, like a channel on chain, you definitely can't be a dodgy influencer and start deleting shit that runs.
That's
Your
true.
proof of your value would be embedded for life.
Nothing will make me unsubscribe from my call channel quicker than someone deleting their calls. It's the most bearish thing. Oh my god. I've had some terrible calls in my time on my channel, but I at least leave them. I don't delete them. Like, it is what it is. I fucked up. Let it be record forever.
I see reputable fucking callers will strike through their last call and put a new comment out saying, "Guys, I fucked up. This is what happened. Sorry." We move on.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
okay.
man.
That stops people from buying it.
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
Yeah, the best formula is you fuck up, you say sorry, you post 5 new calls, and then after the 5 new posts, you delete the shit posts. You can delete them, but just explain to people. Don't just delete them. You have to say like, "Hey, sorry," and leave them up for like a few days, and then delete them slowly.
I like records being there. That's just me.
Oh, trust me, people are keeping records. They have your doc space from like 5 years ago. You don't think they have your calls?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's never been a day in the space I wasn't doxxed. So I came into the space not knowing that was even a thing, like, not having your identity out there. So.
Oh yeah.
All the latecomers did.
Yo,
Even I
Donnie,
did.
what's up, bro? Donnie, what are you doing, bro?
Oh, chilling. Just saying hi.
Nice. Appreciate you coming by. How's the family doing?
Oh, good. Just had a little one. She's like 2 weeks old.
Oh,
No
Jesus
way.
Christ.
Congrats, bro. What the fuck? That's awesome.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Yeah, no, honestly, welcome to this group. This is this is a little it's a little protocol ecosystem we're building on top of Pulse Chain very soon. And we're just rolling things out. We're just getting certain things deployed on the blockchain right now. And yeah, just getting things all lined up.
I'll never
Donnie,
tell.
go ahead and send me a wallet if you can. Preferably a MetaMask.
Yeah, I'll have to try to grab one.
Perfect, cool. But yeah, Donnie,
Been out
we're
of the
discovering.
space for far too long.
Yeah, bro, we discovered some insane stuff while you were gone. You know that Richard Art guy, like the guy who
Richard
made
Art.
Hex.
Everybody calls him a scammer.
Didn't hear it.
What'd you say, Donnie?
Which guy?
Richard Hart, the guy who made Hex. So there's this guy who made a really cool token in 2019, and he's been under scrutiny by the SEC, and he's since the release of his first coin, he's already launched a blockchain that has a TVL of over like $2 billion, I believe. Some of us suspect that he's doing some things behind the scenes that could that could actually support the whole movement that the Maker. I don't know if you know what MakerDAO is and the DAI stablecoin, but those guys are doing a lot of movements, and we believe that Richard Hart is helping them and a part of it, and that the copied stablecoin DAI from Ethereum that is on Pulse Chain right now is it started off at a $0 value, but we believe it's going to peg to $1.
Yeah, man. Now that you say that, it's pretty fucking wild.
That's crazy.
And like, if you think about it, like, if you like research like certain things about the MakerDAO team, you'll notice that, like, the original founder of the protocol released some really weird tweets before he ended up washing up ashore in South America.
Yep.
I know you were
But
talking to me about this a while ago.
We leave that out of the equation a lot.
So this has been a
Yeah.
thing since I think August. They've been working on like this issue. So what happened was when Pulse Chain launched in May last year, there was a minting function on the DAI stablecoin that no one knew about, and so you were able to buy the Maker coin for like $1. And to compare, it's like $3,700 on ETH. So you're able to buy it for $1 and mint DAI stablecoin at a $1 value and dump it on people. So it was basically just like going down and down and down. And basically, what ended up happening was people noticed a $1 million transfer between a wallet that's relative to Richard Hart, and it was sent to a wallet that's relative to MakerDAO members. And after that, one of the owners of the MakerDAO contract mysteriously executed a function to stop minting on the DAI stablecoin contract. So it was one of those moments where everyone just kind of like froze in their sight and just started buying at the same time. And the fucking coin is 11. I think it's already 10,000x, I believe.
Oh yeah. It's been like
Just a-
25,000x since the very bottom.
So
Jesus
just a couple
Christ.
X's, just a couple.
Yeah, fuck, man. But yeah, dude, this is probably going to be one of the most insane moments for crypto in the next like 5-10 years. People will look back at this and
Yeah,
be
I
like,
wouldn't
wow.
stress. The autism level on this is off the charts.
Yeah, this is
Let's buy the
extremely
fucking
autistic.
coin, would you? Because it's going to $1 and it's guaranteed X's. So shut the fuck up.
Honestly, we might be so retarded that we're creating this narrative ourselves, and it might honestly just send DAI stablecoin to $1, even if all of this is just like not true. Like
No, 100%. I mean, we're manifesting our own reality here.
yeah, literally, you can. It's that possible. Just like there's people invested this much into it, like Maria and others. There's people building 30 contracts. Rick, you want to make like 50. There's eventually there will be thousands of contracts just supporting the DAI stablecoin peg. In a sense, not directly, but indirectly.
Well, yeah, and then the bots just follow the framework. So you got the smart contracts that align certain rules and regulations that DAI can't work out of. It can't work out of the certain bounds that you constrain it under. So
I've been kind of doing a little networking on the side, and the guy that is behind the Fidelity.com login. That's my buddy, one of my good buddies. So I have somebody that knows about Java on the back end that could
nice.
help on my end. That would be a good asset.
Damn, that's really cool. That's actually really cool. But yeah, dude, Rig, this is my buddy Donnie. I've known him since like I entered the space. I was doing a lot of stuff with him and stuff. I owe a lot of my success to him as well, because him and his buddies were great support to me when I was coming up.
You owe nothing to me, Sponge.